Okay, so today I want to continue on this compute category here and come down to this tutorial here where we deploy a LAMP stack application to Amazon. So this is the tutorial that I'm going to complete today. So it says in this guide you'll learn how to deploy a PHP web application on a LAMP stack, which is basically Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Deployed using Amazon Lightsail. So Amazon Lightsail makes it really easy to deploy these type of applications on a lighter framework that and infrastructure that you may kind of need. So basically, so this says Lightsail is easy to use, virtual private server, a provider that offers you everything needed to build an application, a website for a cost-effective monthly plan. So if this was something that you were basically doing at home or some type of kind of study project, it would be quite easy and quite fast to actually set up. So basically what it sort of says here is you need an AWS account, which is fine. So it says in this tutorial it'll be divided into short modules. So set up a LAMP stack within Lightsail, which is going to be here, and we're going to just log into our application, into our CLI. Okay, and let's start on module 1, create your Lightsail PHP application. So it says you'll need AWS CLI to create a Lightsail instance from Blueprint. So let's go down here. So this is how to create a Lightsail instance. You will use the following CLI command to create a Lightsail instance, and this is going to be a bash. So what I need to do here is I need to open up a command prompt. So let's see, AWS command here. Okay, so I've just basically brought up my command line here. So remembering that, I'm using iTerm here. iTerm is provided. If you actually have a look back at the videos and tutorials in the first setting up series, you'll basically sort of see there's a tutorial on how to basically set that up. So I can go to here and the configuration setup folder now, and you'll sort of see you need 406, which is basically just like a bonus video on how to set up your CLI install and configuration. Because don't forget, some people may not have sort of seen this before. They may be just, trying to get into IT, and it may be just kind of useful for them. I'm also updating my notes here. So it says okay, deploy. So basically I want to copy that. We need an instance name, availability zone, ID of a blueprint, ID of a bundle, SSH key pair, and user data. Bundle refers to defining. Let's see, a bundle refers to a pre-configured set of resources that determine the amount of memory. Okay, defined as user data. So we're going to need a few things here. So it does look like there's a little bit of kind of work that actually has to be done here. So I'm in my downloads. So I'm in here in my downloads. So basically it sort of says here, it's quite a bit to actually set this up. Let's see. Okay, so let's start at the beginning here. Basically it says, okay. We will use the following CLI command to create the Lightsail instance. Okay, so basically I'm going to just copy that and I'm going to put that into a notepad for a few minutes. Okay, the command expects the following parameters: an instance name, availability zone, ID of blueprint, ID of a bundle, SSH key pair, and user data. Okay, so defining the user data. So the user data first of all. As shown in the above command, when you create a Lightsail instance, you have an option passing user data to the instance that can be used to perform common automated configuration tasks and even run scripts after the instance starts. In our case, the user data will be used to deploy our LAMP stack. The following script will remove the default website of the blueprint, clone the app and replace it, set the appropriate file permissions, configure the auto-generated default password in the app's config file, and run the init.sql script to create the database and populate it with initial values. Okay, so I will need to put this is going to be the user data, create database clone. Okay, so that will be our user data that we're basically going to pass in. But let's just go on here with our SSH key. In addition to the in addition to the user data, we also want to connect to our instance after it's been created. So we will need an SSH key pair. To create your key pair, you can use a CLI. So let's sort of see if this works. So I can take this, I can do this. So I just kind of ran it like AWS. You know, I can just kind of clear this and just paste. Okay, so now I have my SSH key. So if I just list LTR, you can sort of see that I actually have my response key here. So I'm going to clear this, just keep the screen clean. I'm going to cat the response. So I'm going to cat that response. I don't actually have JQ installed. So it says here you may need to install JQ. Okay, so let me just go and install that first. So I did actually have to install JR, which is just like a JSON parser. But basically, I'm on Mac, so I'm doing it through Brew here, and you can sort of see that it's basically been installed now. But for Windows, you'll just have to actually find how to actually do that. But you can sort of see here's the homepage for JR. Okay, so let's just go back to here. So now I should, in theory, JQ. Actually, what I need is JQ or JQ. So I actually need JQ or. So I'm going to just paste that. It was actually dash or that I was actually passing in. So, okay. So I've done that now. I should be able to rerun my setup here. Okay, so that command is run. I can copy this, paste. So I'm just basically pasting these commands into the command line, and here I'm basically just setting this to be chmod 400 for permissions. Okay, so here it says you might need to install JQ, which we did, a lightweight, flexible command line processor on your machine using packet manager of choice. Okay, I use Brew, so you could choose another one. So we've got our SSH key. Let's just go back at this. So we've got our user data. Okay, here it says creating the Lightsail instance. So if we go back up here, you can see that we need to now look at the instance here. Okay, so name of your instance, availability zone, blueprint ID, and bundle ID. So creating the instance. So now we have everything prepared. We can use the AWS CLI to create the instance. For this guide, you will be using the Ireland EU West 1 region and the Lamble blueprint. So we can do this. So we'll get blueprints command. So it says here, if you want to see a full list of available blueprints, you can run the following command. I just did that here, and it's just bringing back all of the actual blueprints here that we basically have server-wise. Just here. So it sort of says you must specify the instance bundle when creating a Lightsail instance. For example, we would use a macro 2 0 bundle. You can view a list of bundles with the following commands. So let's see what we get here. I'm going to exit this first. Okay, so we can do get bundles. Now we can do get bundles, which we did here. So I just did get bundles here. You can see a lot of the bundles here. I think they were sort of saying we're going to use a micro 2.0, so we need to kind of see if we have that. I don't see it listed here, but maybe it's moved to 3.0 in the meantime. Let's just continue on with the setup. So it says to create your Lightsail instance with the user data script, okay, and the SSH key you configured, you created, run the following command. So basically we have to take this guy. So this is where we create instances. The instance name is going to be this, the availability zone is going to be this, blueprint is going to be that, the bundle ID is going to be micro 2.0, micro, I don't see a micro, but I'm interested to run this either way. I'm interested to run this either way, just to sort of see if this actually runs. So I can copy this, and it says the command will output details of your instance that's created. Okay, so let's just clear this for 1 second. Okay. 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 So let's just paste and run. Yeah, I didn't think so. So the specified blueprint does not exist or is depreciated. Okay, so let me kind of do something here. Let me open up a new tab here. So if we say AWS, okay, watch this because this is interesting, right? So if I kind of clear this here, and I paste in exactly what we were asked to paste in here, which is this. If I paste in that, paste. Sorry, I'll have to copy it again. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on copy snippet. I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste again, which looks like this. And remember, we're sort of saying it's micro 2.2 underscore O here, and I didn't see one in the bundles, so I was wondering if this would even work. Okay, so basically it sort of says here an error occurred, not found exception when calling the create instances operation. The specified blueprint, so the blueprint here, does not exist or is depreciated. So that's the blueprint that we were basically calling. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up a new command here. Actually, I'm going to show you this nice. If I do this here, I'm going to I'm going to split this vertically. So I'm going to split this vertically. Okay. So basically now I actually have this side that I can kind of work on and this side that I'm checking to see. Because what I noticed a few minutes ago was that, you know, the message here clearly states that the bundle specified blueprint does not exist. And your blueprint ID is lamp 7. So your blueprint is lamp 7. Now if I go back to my get bundles here, those get bundles and get blueprints. Actually, let's just run the get blueprints again. Here, here, here. You can see here that the only blueprints we actually have here, according to this, is 2 Windows servers. So if I say get Lightsail, get blueprints, we have Windows Server 2022, to type, the version code, product, license, blueprint ID, the name, the group, but we don't have the one we're looking for. We don't have lamp underscore 7. So it says, let me just read this again. Now we have prepared everything. We can use the CLI to create the instance. For this guide, we will be using Ireland region. That definitely exists. And the lamp blueprint. The lamp blueprint of lamp underscore 7. You will see a full list of available blueprints by running the following command. So here we don't see the full list of so let me just ask, Microsoft, so let's sort of see, I want to open that, I want to find this get blueprint CLI, this lamp 7 is missing, okay, so here's somebody that's already kind of discovered this issue. The optional lamp 7 is missing blueprint. I can only select lamp 8. So it sort of says, it seems that AWS Lightsail may have updated their blueprint offerings. The lamp blueprint is no longer available. AWS periodically updates the instances blueprints to provide the latest and most secure versions of software. If you still need lamp with Lightsail, create a new Lightsail instance with the available blueprint. Connect to downgraded, upgraded. Place which is a desired service. So, according to this, it doesn't actually exist here. And here's where you could basically kind of go through all of those documents. Let's sort of see. Let's see. Can we have a different one? So actually, can we have a different one? The option of that is get blueprints. So get blueprints. So let me go back here and go to AWS documentation, search in AWS documentation, Let me see, what was the name in that? It was lamp_7. Session documentation for lamp_7. Install lamp. Install lamp server. Why can we use something like this? This lamp, Lightsail. Let's see if we can just search for Lightsail. Install lamp server. Play a lamp. That's how to set it up. So that's definitely Lightsail. Lightsail tutorials. Quick start. Ghost GitHub lamp. Quick start. Okay, so the one that we basically were looking for to complete this tutorial does not exist anymore, and all you're basically getting the option for is the Windows version. So this is not going to really work for us in this deployment, because you can sort of see when you do the get blueprints, you only get options for Windows Server, and really what we were looking for was like a lamp_7. And there's also not the micro 2_0 anymore. There's a micro 3. So it doesn't look like we would be able to do and complete this one. So what I think we'll have to do is it's just this one just looks completely out of date, you know. So create your Lightsail PHP application. So I mean, if you kind of take that Lightsail PHP, go back to your documentation guide here, and sort of see if you have anything cried Lightsail and some load balancing, or the management, learn more about Lightsail, work with Lightsail, start guide, launch a Lightsail lamp instance. I think we looked at this one. We can go down here. Here's the tutorials. So it's kind of a little bit disheartening, because when you actually go to this hands-on, what we wanted to do was just create something quick and easy. But here's the kind of quick guides, quick starts. So you can actually have a lamp here, but that's gone back into the other Lightsail documentation, which is kind of coming back up here. I think it is here. It's coming into this one. So at least the only thing is we found out a little bit, about what we'd actually have to do here, because when we kind of went back up to, this PHP application, it doesn't have the availability of those images anymore that we would need to deploy that. So I'm kind of wondering what else here would be not, available. So I think, here's one about Magento. Here's one about WordPress storage buckets, and then I know there's a kind of page 2 of this. But basically, we maybe just kind of come back in here and sort of looking at these ones here. You know, CLI for Lightsail. Um, Set up access keys. We have our access keys already done. Cloud Shell, Cloud Trail. So that's for logging details. You know, you could just come in here and actually sort of see what's actually available to us. Um, but to complete this, we don't actually have the blueprint available to us anymore for Lightsail for this one. So let's take what we kind of learned from this and make sure that we remember this, because again, this is all just kind of practice. So we wanted to kind of create this and set this all kind of up, but it definitely doesn't look like we can actually do that from this point of view. So I think we'd actually have to, if we wanted to complete this, we'd have to go back into the more documentation one here. So I'm going to mark this to sort of say, we couldn't actually move forward in this because the blueprint basically didn't exist. But we learned a few things about this either way. So okay, we'll talk to you later. So just to give a kind of quick update on this tutorial that we're basically looking at. So the one that we were looking at was here and how to deploy a LAMP stack using the CLI. What I kind of noticed here is if you actually go into the Lightsail UI here, you do get a LAMP version 8 here that you could have kind of, that you could select, but from the CLI I wasn't basically getting that option. So it does kind of look like you may be better off to use the tutorial here, how to build a LAMP stack web app. Use that tutorial to basically to build, because this one talks about going into the Lightsail account, and you can sort of see here you're in the UI and you select your region, your zone, then you select your LAMP 7 or LAMP 8 and PHP 7. Install the application code here so you can add your launch script. This is very similar to what we kind of did before. There's your launch script, so that gets executed when your application server is starting up. Test your application, load the IP, run it in the browser, clean up, basically delete it. So I'm not going to go through that because it does look like, if you actually do it through the UI, you'd actually would have had a lot of better options. So maybe, maybe just the UI just needs a kind of an update, because it was strange. It was just showing me kind of two options for Windows when I didn't believe that there was actually no more than that. I mean, you can sort of see here Microsoft Windows 4 blueprints here, and if you go into Lightsail, you sort of see it's now 6 blueprints that are actually available here. So there's apps and OS for 3, like Microsoft SQL Server, and then there's Windows Server here. If you're going to go into the Linux ones here, you can sort of see there's an awful lot. So you can also stand up an Nginx, which is good. So I'll leave it there, and I won't kind of take the time to do any more kind of on this Lightsail, because we've kind of done 1 or 2 videos on that now. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.